Welcome to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. When Bianca Censori stepped out of that black SUV in Beverly Hills last Tuesday afternoon, nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for what they were about to witness. The woman who has become one of Hollywood's most enigmatic figures, the architectural designer turned Kanye West's wife, had just pulled off perhaps her most shocking transformation yet. But this wasn't just another fashion moment. This was about family, about boundaries being pushed, and about a woman who continues to redefine what it means to be in the spotlight while navigating one of entertainment's most complex family dynamics. What happened next would send shockwaves through social media, divide her fan base, and leave even the most seasoned celebrity watchers questioning everything they thought they knew about Bianca Censori's evolution in the public eye. Northwest, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. Kanye's 4 children with Kim Kardashian were spending their designated time with their father. It should have been just another ordinary co-parenting day in the life of one of America's most watched families. But Bianca had other plans. Plans that would completely flip the script on what we expect from celebrity stepmothers. The paparazzi cameras were rolling, as they always are when the West family is involved. But what they captured that day wasn't your typical stepmother taking kids to the park scenario. No designer activewear, no perfectly curated casual chic. Instead, Bianca emerged wearing something so unexpected, so deliberately provocative, that it immediately sparked a conversation about boundaries, self-expression, and the delicate balance of blended family dynamics. She was draped in what can only be described as avant-garde rebellion, a sheer, architectural piece that seemed to dance between high fashion and pure artistic statement. The fabric moved like liquid metal, catching the California sunlight in ways that made photographers' cameras work overtime. This wasn't just clothing. This was wearable art with an edge that cut through conventional expectations. But here's where it gets really interesting. The children? They seemed completely unfazed. North, now 11 and already showing her own fierce sense of style, was actually smiling, genuinely smiling, as she walked alongside Bianca. Saint, 9 years old and usually more reserved around cameras, appeared relaxed and animated. These weren't children who looked uncomfortable or confused by their stepmother's bold choice. They looked normal, happy even. And that's when you realize what Bianca Censori is really doing here. She's not just making fashion statements for the sake of headlines. She's not trying to outshine anyone or create controversy for clicks. She's establishing her own identity within a family structure that's been under intense scrutiny since day one. She's showing the world, and perhaps more importantly, showing those children, that authenticity doesn't have to be compromised, even when you're living under the most powerful microscope in entertainment. Think about the position she's in. Bianca married arguably one of the most polarizing figures in modern culture. She became an instant stepmother to 4 children who are already growing up in the spotlight. She's constantly compared to Kim Kardashian, one of the most influential women of our generation. The pressure to conform, to play it safe, to blend into the background would be overwhelming for most people. But Bianca? She chose a different path entirely. Sources close to the family, and yes, we always have those sources, revealed that this particular outing was actually Bianca's idea. She had suggested taking the kids to a contemporary art installation in downtown LA, something educational, but also visually striking. Her outfit choice wasn't random. It was intentionally curated to match the artistic environment they were exploring together. She wanted to show them that art comes in many forms, our source explains. That creativity shouldn't be contained by what other people think is appropriate or normal. It was actually a really beautiful teaching moment disguised as what people saw as a shocking fashion choice. The art installation? An exhibition about breaking barriers and challenging societal norms. Suddenly, Bianca's outfit wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a living, breathing part of the educational experience she was creating for her stepchildren. North, who's already shown her own artistic inclinations through her TikTok presence and various creative projects, was reportedly fascinated by the connection between what Bianca was wearing and the art they were viewing. She started asking questions about fabric as sculpture, about the human body as a canvas, about the difference between shocking people and inspiring them. But let's be real for a moment. The internet wasn't having deep conversations about art education and creative expression. Social media exploded with opinions, as it always does when the West family is involved. Some users praised Bianca for staying true to her artistic vision. Others questioned whether her choices were appropriate around the children. The comment sections became battlegrounds of opinion, with everyone suddenly becoming an expert on co-parenting and family dynamics. What's fascinating is how this reflects our broader cultural relationship with unconventional choices, especially when they involve children. We claim to want authenticity, but when someone lives authentically in a way that makes us uncomfortable, we question their judgment. We say we want people to be themselves, but only if their self aligns with our expectations of what's appropriate. Meanwhile, behind all the social media noise and tabloid speculation, something else was happening. Kanye, who's never been one to shy away from controversy himself, was reportedly proud of his wife's commitment to artistic expression. Friends close to the couple say he admires her refusal to dim her creative light for the comfort of others. He has always been about pushing boundaries through art, one insider tells us. Having a partner who understands that, who embodies that same fearlessness, it's actually brought them closer together. They're creating this environment where the kids can see that being different isn't something to be ashamed of. And perhaps that's the real story here. Not the shock value of an outfit or the social media reactions it generated, but the deeper message being transmitted to the next generation. In a world where children are increasingly pressured to conform, to fit into predetermined boxes, to suppress their uniqueness for social acceptance, Bianca is modeling something different entirely. The fashion industry took notice too. Several high-end designers who work in the avant-garde space reached out through social media and industry connections, praising Bianca's commitment to wearable art. Vogue's street-style photographers, who are notoriously selective about which looks make it into their coverage, featured her prominently in their weekly roundup. But here's what really matters. 3 days after that Beverly Hills outing, Chicago was spotted wearing her own artistic creation, a dress she had apparently designed and crafted herself using fabric scraps and unconventional materials. When asked about it by a family friend, the 7-year-old reportedly said she wanted to be creative like Bianca. That's when you understand the real impact of authentic self-expression in a family setting. It's not about the specific clothes or the public reactions. It's about permission. Permission to be different. Permission to explore. Permission to exist outside the narrow boundaries that society tries to impose, especially on women, especially on public figures, especially on stepmothers. The relationship between Bianca and Kim's children continues to evolve in ways that surprise industry observers. Initial predictions suggested tension, competition, or awkwardness. Instead, what we're seeing is something much more nuanced and ultimately more beautiful. We're watching a woman who refused to erase herself to make others comfortable, and children who are learning that there are many different ways to move through the world with confidence and creativity. Of course, this is just the latest chapter in Bianca Censori's fascinating journey from architectural designer to global style icon. Remember, this is a woman who is working behind the scenes, creating spaces and structures before she ever stepped into the spotlight. Her approach to fashion and self-presentation draws directly from her design background. She thinks in terms of form, function, space, and impact. Every outfit choice is intentional. Every public appearance is curated not for shock value, but for artistic coherence. She's essentially treating her public persona as her most complex design project yet, and the results are consistently surprising in the best possible way. Industry insiders suggest that Bianca's influence on contemporary fashion extends far beyond her individual choices. Young designers are starting to embrace more architectural elements in their work. Fashion students are studying her looks not just as style moments, but as examples of wearable sculpture. She's creating ripple effects throughout the creative community in ways that extend far beyond tabloid headlines. But let's bring it back to that Tuesday afternoon in Beverly Hills. Because ultimately, that's where the real story lives. Not in the fashion industry reactions or the social media debates, but in those quiet moments between a stepmother and her children, exploring art together, learning together, growing together. The children weren't shocked by Bianca's unusual style because, to them, it wasn't unusual at all. It was just Bianca being Bianca. And in a world where authenticity is increasingly rare, especially in the public eye, that might be the most revolutionary thing about her approach to both fashion and family. So the next time you see Bianca Censori making headlines for her bold fashion choices, remember the deeper story. Remember the art installation and the educational moment. Remember North's questions about creativity and Chicago's inspired dress design. Remember that sometimes what looks like rebellion from the outside is actually just someone refusing to apologize for who they are. And in a world that constantly tries to shrink women down to size, to make them more palatable, more acceptable, more conventional, well, maybe we need a few more people like Bianca Censori, creating their own rules and teaching the next generation that it's not only okay to be different, it's actually quite beautiful. What do you think? Are we witnessing a new era of authentic self-expression in celebrity culture? Or is Bianca pushing boundaries that shouldn't be crossed? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and please keep it respectful. We're talking about real people and real family dynamics here. If stories like this fascinate you as much as they fascinate me, make sure you're subscribed to StarWire Daily for more behind-the-scenes insights into the lives of your favorite celebrities. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest deep dives into Hollywood's most intriguing personalities. And remember, the most interesting stories are often the ones hiding in plain sight, wrapped in headlines that tell only half the truth. Until next time, keep questioning what you see, keep looking deeper, and keep celebrating the courage it takes to live authentically in a world that's always watching.